Okay, welcome to this shorter video. In this I'm actually painting my girlfriend Amalie Rusholt-Ness. You can find a link to her YouTube channel in the description. She's also a painter, a very good one actually. What we did here, she's just doing an interview or we are doing a talk where she asks me questions about different cliches that are used in the art scene, in my opinion, to cover up the emptiness of modern art. So if you want to join us in the conversation, which sometimes actually is quite funny, you can do that by... Oh, shit, what happened? So, you can do that, and I also put every question into different chapters. So she always tells me a question or a kind of a folklore about India, which is used in the art scene, and I respond to these things. So with this, I hope you enjoy. It was a funny experiment. I might think I want to make sit-down videos about the different topics, but I'll do that later. For now, it will be this one. Of course, I will also post a full process video of this painting when it's done, but it will take a while. It's quite advanced, actually. So, and remember, if you want to have me as your mentor or teacher, art teacher, you can go to my Patreon or sign up there for whatever tier you want, or you can buy me a coffee. You can do a super chat when I do lives, or yeah, whatever. So, and remember, the thumbs up and comments are gold these days for the algorithm, so please do that and help my channel grow. So with this, hope to see you in the rest of the video. Remember. So today, how does it feel to be painted? By the way,
cool.
Cool.
That's cool.
Have you been thinking about it since it taken a long time?
Yeah, sometimes.
You do? Why don't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me?
I forget about it, and
Okay.
then I think about it, and then I forget about it again.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do it now. So, it's on my list. Anyway, we are going to talk about art cliché.
Yeah.
You download. What did you do? You downloaded.
I asked ChatGPT to give me some cliches and sentences from the art world about art.
And now I'm gonna.
So I'm just gonna
Give
read
a
them
comment?
out loud, and then you can comment what you think.
Yeah.
And if you think they are right or wrong.
Cool.
Yeah. We start with it's about the process, not the product.
It's about the process, not the product.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, as an artist, it is actually, if you really are an artist, you love the process, and that is kind of a driving force. But that expression is also a cop-out for modern art, which is just concept-based, so they don't have to face the fact that there is not a good object to show that there were a process. And in my opinion, if you don't have a concrete product that can show a concrete process, there hasn't really been a process. That is my opinion. Because every process should lead to some kind of understandable object, or the process failed. And if there isn't going to be a process, be an object at the end of the process, so that is not important. As I say, how can you then know what the process were about, or if there even were a process at all? I guess I have already said that. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also think about like art that is made of AI, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically just about the product and not the
Process,
process.
yeah. Because there hasn't really been a process, at least not from a human being, and
But the process is also the product in a way.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
human made.
Now the AI is human made.
Yeah.
So you can say that is, there has been a long process to make an AI, but there is no real process in, there is no subjective process in AI. So it becomes, as an artwork, it becomes just totally pointless, meaningless. Yeah. Would you like to have a painting painted by a Tesla bot? You know, the robots? Would you feel that was a real piece of art?
Well, if I know that it is made from a bot,
Yeah?
then I probably wouldn't think it is.
No?
But if it looks like it's made by a human and I don't know that it's made of a bot, I don't.
Yeah, but then you will assume that it was made by a human.
Yeah.
So you would assume, and
Yeah.
that's why you would be impressed.
That's why it would be impressive.
Impressive, yeah. But if you then, it's like, you know, the Philip Weber artist. If I find out that he is secretly using projectors, I won't be that impressed anymore. No. I would still be impressed because it's good work, but it is cut in half. Yeah, because the sketching process is, in his case, one of the most difficult things to do. If you can get that right, the rest is filling in, going over it again and again and again and again and again and again. So the sketching process is really important, and if that is removed, half the difficulties are removed. Yes, more than half, I think. Okay, next.
Art should be provocative.
No.
And we want to elaborate
That was just not. It doesn't have to be provocative.
No.
Art should, it can be provocative, but in my view, and I'm going to say in my view because it is relative, I think that the skill has to be, there has to be great skill for it to be strong enough to be provocative. Say that a person, which has happened in Norway, there was a person in the 70s who painted pornographic paintings. Apparently that was back then provocative, because some people do find pornography very provocative. Not because it's human waste and it's like it is not a positive thing for humanity, but because it's about sex. Okay. But the paintings he did wasn't good. They weren't skillful. Okay. So when I see them, they are not that provocative, because they are not that, they don't come out and get you. They are just badly rendered paintings of porn. But if he was as good, or even maybe half as good a painter as a classical painter, he was a good painter, it would have been way more provocative, because he would have made them more outgoing, more present in the room, and in that way you would be more pulled in, and it would be provocative. Now, art can provoke, but in my opinion, skill must come first. When I find a motif that I have painted some paintings people have found provocative, like the girl sitting on the toilet, stuff like that. But it wouldn't be provocative if it was a bad painting. That would just be a crude, a little bit vulgar painting. If you can take a very, very vulgar scene and paint it beautifully, then you will have the beauty of the painting, and it will feel way more provocative, because you won't be able to turn away from it. You can't say, it's a bad painting. You have to say, it's a good painting. So you can't dismiss it. So yeah, art wins a lot by being provocative, if it doesn't fall into the cliches of being provocative, like Bjarne Melgaard, the Norwegian artist Bjarne Melgaard, which is just a cliche. If you are provoked with him of what he is making, you haven't seen anything. And I guess I sent you that documentary about child abuse, or the police people.
That was really
and when you know about these things, or have seen things like that, nothing can provoke you. Nothing. Because you have seen, or you know about the worst things. So there, and all the horrible shit that happens to humans, and then these artists are writing infect your friend and all this crap bullshit, superficially painted, bad painting, he's not skilled, there's no skill, and you see it's extremely pretentious, and he's using this provoke thing to make some people feel that it's art, and it's all just a fucking lie. So no, yeah. So art that provokes without skill, tries to provoke without the skill, nah, it doesn't hold up.
Yeah, I've seen some modern artists that make something very bad.
Yeah.
It's technically extremely bad.
Uh-huh.
And then they get criticized for it, and then they say, but you got provoked, so I managed to do the right thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The fact that you were provoked that I did such a bad job is art enough. And that is a lie. That's simply a lie. Because it's too easy. It's too easy. And that's the problem with the art scene. That's the problem with art today. It's the only thing you need to do. You just need to provoke them. And also people are quite easy to provoke also. People, even I get provoked by stuff. And I start writing on YouTube or whatever, commenting and stuff. So I get dragged in. So I feed it in a way, myself. I'm feeding the beast. So yeah, it's not good. you should learn. I have to teach myself to. Well, what provokes me, I think, with people like Bjarne Melgaard or people who like just roll around in their own excrements on paper or something in a gallery. What provokes me isn't what they actually do. It is the cynicism behind it, and the lack of humility. And it really shows how most of the art scene is based on a collective narcissistic personality disorder. Some kind of it's basically a religion. So yeah, and it's sad because we have so much great art, and I also know that so many young artists who actually had good intentions in the beginning are almost forced into this bullshit. They are dragged in. Because if not, as an artist, you are persona, is it non grata they call it? Persona non grata. Are you eating more ice cream?
I'm eating ice cream. So if it's eating sounds in this video, I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's fine. It's going to be difficult here because it's quite hard. So what do you think? Should I... I was wondering, I think it's a nice thing actually. When you look out, I wonder about kind of... But maybe this is nice, huh? Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's nice.
Yeah, okay. So I just have to... It's so much happening. It's a very nice... You I said, hold a rose and you don't know how, why, how. You're not, you can't pretend. That's so funny with you. You have no idea how to...
I don't know how to hold a flower.
pretend or how to pose or stuff. You can't lie. I can't lie. What do you mean? And the other girls, they're like, I just say, and they are into the immediately. Never hook up with a girl who's a good poser. It's not gonna end well. Papier. Ja, det. Yes. Nästan har vi kategorier. Så. Okay. Yes. Was there anything more?
Let's see. Oh, everything is art.
Yeah, you have to go back to the original. If you go back to the original meaning of the word art, which is actually skill, that is why we say, oh, it's an art. Okay? If something is beautiful, you see a beautiful sky or something, so, okay? And you kind of say, oh, it's almost like an artwork. Okay? When people say that, they mean something beautiful. Skill-based. So the origin of the word art is arte, or to create, or skill-based creation. So in the light of the original, I would say no, not unless it has high skill. Okay? But in the modern art version of art, yeah, everything goes. In that context, it is true. Mm. And everything is art. If you, or everything can be art if you say it's art. I guess that is what they mean. If an artist say this is art, it is art. If you go to a store and gonna buy yourself a piece of bread, it's just a piece of bread. Until an artist comes along and says, this is art. And now it isn't just a bread anymore, it is an art piece. And if he takes this bread, if it's conceptual art, he will just lay the bread, lay there, and he will say he has an art exhibition in a store because he calls it art. And that is all that is needed to create an artwork if you are. It could have been a very good, actually, I could have been a very good conceptual artist because I know all the tricks. Okay? I can use language, I know how I cannot understand the language, but I'm not dishonest enough. What shocks me sometimes is, do they actually believe in what they are saying? Do they believe in it themselves? And I think, yeah, I think some of them actually do. I think a person like Bjarne Melgaard or some other others of these people actually know they are lying. And when it comes to Bjarne Melgaard, the Norwegian artist Bjarne Melgaard, he can't even hide it. You see it. You see. He knows. He knows this is bullshit. And he can't even explain it. He do all these cop-out maneuvers by saying he doesn't need to be understood, or art doesn't need to be understood. There doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to mean anything, okay? So he is hiding behind that because he doesn't have any real opinions. And he knows it. What he's doing is bullshit. He doesn't have a goal. He doesn't have anything that he really wants to say. And most modern artists, or many conceptualist artists, are in that category. And when you see it, you can't unsee it. Before you see it, you actually think it is something. You think, what am I missing? What is it I don't understand? And then you have the people, the gallerists and the so-called curators that are panicked, trying desperately. You've seen that in this could actually be a video about Bjarne Melgaard, but he's a very good example. How when he doesn't give them any feedback in all their theories, he just sit there and almost say, so what? They kind of panic. They try to desperately to find some kind of theoretical anchor for their own theories, because of course if they can't explain, as a curator, if they can't explain why Bjarne Melgaard is good in a coherent way, it falls apart. And Bjarne Melgaard knows that he doesn't have to have opinions. He doesn't have to do anything, because he has probably understood what kind of bullshit it is. But to be like that, I think you have to be at least overt, not a covert. You have to be basically a covert or an overt, both covert and overt narcissist. I think you have to be both, actually. Or maybe even a psychopath to lie so much without suffer from it. But I also think I see that he is actually suffering from it because he is so empty. You can see it, that the guy is just totally empty. And I met artists myself through the years, and that emptiness, the closer they come to conceptualism, the more empty they are as human beings. I have noticed that. I didn't know what it was before, why I had this uncanny valley feeling when I met people like that. But now I know. They are empty. And I think also the most prominent conceptual artists are narcissists. Or even almost psychopaths. And it's all about, it's not about skill, it's not about the object, it is about fame, being seen. Yeah. For me, it's about getting it right. Okay, that's all. And it becomes an existential question. How do you feel when you can't get anything right? No, you can't get it right.
No, it's horrible.
Hmm?
It's horrible.
Horrible, yeah. So why should not getting a leaf right be so horrible? Huh? Because you have a conscience. Because you know what is good. Because you feel like a failure. Because you all these things, and sometimes being too self-deprecating is also not good. Like that gallerist in New York who said, you mustn't talk yourself down like that, so he said to me. And Gauguin Gallery is one of the most famous galleries in New York, and he said, oh, your things are great, well, can't you exhibit it? That I told him, well, who are you? And I said, well, that doesn't matter if you start selling stuff. But anyway, there was he thought I was a customer, and he told me running out because I asked for the prices of the paintings. It was nice paintings actually in the gallery, not better than mine, so there's no reason why I shouldn't hang there. But the point is that, you know, that person has a name. It was very beautiful paintings, huge figurative paintings, so it was very, very good. More coherent than mine. Yeah, maybe better. I don't know, but it depends what who is looking at it. But anyway, the point is that he thought that I was a customer, and when he understood I was an artist, said, "Hey, you can see me." He didn't want to see it, and I forced him to see it. And just, hey, look, you're standing here anyway. And, oh, well, it's good, actually, he said. And then was, but who are you? If you don't have a name in the art scene. And that is sad, because you need to have find the right people to promote you and stuff, and that is a problem because I'm not good at promoting it myself, and you're even worse. So there we are, and that is why I think we should kind of be pleased with our own process and focus on that instead of, you know, all that fame bullshit anyway, because I think doing good work should be enough. Anyway, next question. Mm-hmm.
The viewer completes the work.
Hmm?
The viewer completes the work.
No, that's nonsense. Huh? How could that be? The viewer completes the work.
I heard that some people say.
I complete the work.
Yeah.
I see the work. I see what's wrong. I see what could be better. I see where I failed. I see.
Yeah.
So it's just a cliche. What does it actually mean?
What does it even mean?
It doesn't mean anything.
I can ask ChatGPT
what
it says on that.
Yeah. Because it doesn't really mean anything.
When people say the viewer completes the work, they usually mean that a work of art doesn't have a fixed, finished meaning on its own. It becomes complete through the interpretation, perception, and emotional response of the person experiencing it.
Well, of course, if weren't any people who was going to see it. You lived on a desert island somewhere, and you were the only person left in the world, and nobody should see your artwork. There wouldn't be a viewer, of course. There wouldn't be a subjective, a different subject from you that would experience it subjectively. But to say that every person, 8 billion people who is seeing a piece of art is completing it is just nonsense. It doesn't mean anything because it's there. Girl with Amalia with palette and rose when it's done. That is what it is. Then people who is viewing it, they will start putting their own symbols of subjectivity. They will ask when I'm done, there will be a lot of textures in the back. I'm gonna really work with this piece until it's really reaching that, you know. I'm gonna take it as far as possible. Try to, okay? Which means I will go into a lot of textures and try to get stuff right. But people will of course ask, maybe I will also, okay, I will call it Amalia with red rose, palette and shadow. That's the best title. Because you have a shadow. You know that. And you are doing a lot of shadow work like I do. Okay? So it's a very good, this painting is a very good symbol for all these things, okay? The creativity and shyness and cliche and everything. So when people see the title and the painting, they will start themselves to add in their own subjective experiences and interpret. But as an object, they don't complete it. They just interpret it. So I think it's a totally nonsense. It's a cliche that doesn't mean anything. You could say without any. Would the dinosaurs have existed if we didn't know about them? Do we complete the dinosaurs? Huh?
They wouldn't exist without us.
No. Listen, 99.99% of all animals who ever lived went extinct, and most of them we don't even know have existed. Okay, we have just in the fossil record a small portion of them, and that of course makes save the bees, save the trees, save the whale, quite hilarious because they will be dead soon anyway, and maybe even we never managed to survive and go into space. But is it me who is completing the dinosaur? It's the same question. So is the cliche, it is the viewer who gives it. Maybe if you say it's the viewer who gives it existence. Okay? But I was just saying, do a tree fall in the woods if you don't hear it? And the answer is yes. And do the painting exist despite nobody seeing it as an object? Yes, it does. So it has to be nonsense. You complete me. Huh? Yeah.
You are nothing without me.
Yeah. You're nothing without me. You complete. No, it's from, you know which movie it's from. Huh?
No, which one?
The Joker. The Joker.
Which one? The two?
With the guy who died. What was his name again? The Joker. In Batman.
Which Batman?
The first one. Go.
Oh, the Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher
Yeah.
Bale.
Oh,
Christopher
yeah.
Bale.
Yeah.
You don't remember that?
No.
You complete me. Google it on YouTube. That scene is very famous because he tells Batman that without him, Batman wouldn't have a reason to exist, and himself as the Joker, I wouldn't kill you. I wouldn't have any reason to live anymore. Don't you remember that? No? This is brilliant. Without an enemy, I'm nothing. Without the fight, without the conflict, I'm nothing.
Those mob fools want you gone so they can get back to the way things were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever. And why do you want to kill me? I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No. No, you complete me. You're not.
It's brilliant, huh? You should see. Have you forgotten? Maybe you should see that movie again.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. You complete me. Sant? Uten fienden så jeg ingenting. For han var jo tom innvendig. Sant? Men han fikk driven. Og det gjorde jo Batman også. Hva skulle Batman gjort uten kriminelle?
Talk English. We have to talk English.
Ja, ikke sant? De er jo avhengige av hverandre. Sant? Now I love this. It's funny how I can love doing that kind of, just the. How can that be? So why when I can't or don't paint for a while, I just become like today. I felt I didn't get anything done today also, and I started to feel my body, my mind just started to deteriorate. Simply deteriorate. It's like I don't get any outlet. I don't get any peace. Because my head is so, you know how full my head is all the time with shit. And this is my respite. This is where I relax. Also when I train, you know how hard I like to exercise. Because that's also is where I get my rest in a way. And it's crazy. And just doing this for 1.5 hours is enough to kind of lift the clouds away from me. It's crazy. But were more cliches or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. There is no objective quality.
Well, in modern art, that is true.
Yeah.
In classical art, it is not true. The closer you come to, the closer you come to a scientific rendition of, or the closer you come to your goal. It's like, if I'm painting this here, I can measure how good my painting is compared to the object I'm painting and the best paintings in the world. So when you do this, you have objective standards. In modern art, you don't have any objective standard. You have only subjectivity and these, as I said earlier, these curators, they call themselves curators, which means the ones who choose what is art or deserves to be exhibited. And when they suffer from the same narcissistic personality disorder as the artists that also are not skill-based, you do get the kind of art scene we have today, where most of the art is bullshit. And the only reason why they are getting away with it is because people simply don't give a shit. In Norway, we are pouring money in from the oil revenue, and only 3% of the population is interested in modern art. If you show any person, something that is skill-based, something that is really good, something that was difficult, there isn't a single person who is not interested. Because they recognize that this took effort. And that is why skill-based art is as aesthetic as science, you know. But just notice, and that is why, oh, it's an art. They say, det är som en kunst. Det är ju en kunst. So? It's an art. It's so artistic. And it doesn't mean totally relative without any coherent direction or language. They are saying it is an object that represents something that is really good and deserves attention. Yeah. Next.
Art should ask questions, not provide answers.
Both. If you ask a question, you might want to try to answer it. So if you ask a question in an artwork, I'm not asking a question in this artwork. Not a concrete question. This is just trying to create something aesthetic, and maybe that can, of course, send the viewer different places, as we talked about earlier. I'm not trying to solve a problem in the world in this. But if you are doing political work, or you are doing language, or you are basically, well, I do kind of create a story here, don't I?
Yeah.
I do. It is a story, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
With all the elements and stuff. So it's more than just a painting. Because I do think about the rhetoric, how it can lead to different, also in the title. But in this one, I'm not answering any concrete questions. I don't. Okay? But I also don't answer any concrete questions, do I?
Oh.
No.
What is... I wonder about, is there any concrete examples of artworks that make questions or...
Well, when the painting that is on the wall in my bathroom, the human condition, where I paint that fat person and that starving girl and that war thing. I ask some questions there. I also have a text. So there I do actually, in a way, answer but I ask a question, is this kind of obesity a good thing? Okay? And I also answer that question in that painting. So yes, I think you can both ask questions and answer them in art. What was the question again?
Art should ask questions, not provide answers.
I think they should do both if they want to. It doesn't really matter. It's also kind of a nonsense question. Because, and there we can maybe go back to the question before that. Does the viewer complete the artwork?
Yeah.
Okay, because the questions appears in the viewer. So maybe I just disproved what I said. But so yes and no, or yeah, really it doesn't. Why shouldn't I ask? Why should I ask a question and don't try to answer it in the same painting?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about
Yeah.
that only ask question and not answering.
No.
I can't think of any.
No, there is not any
because I think all the time when they
because
do
the
that,
answer sure,
when they ask a question, it's more about expressing some opinion or an experience. Or it's never just, what about this? I don't have any opinion about that. I have never seen something like that. I think.
No. You say you ask questions and then you don't care about hearing the opinion or having an opinion about your own question. I think if you are asking a question, you already are answering it. Just asking a question, in a way, answers it. Because you have thought about the question. And you wouldn't ask a question if you didn't try to answer the question. So it kind of you can't. It's also the cop out. It's not my responsibility to. I just did this, and that is also back to Bjarne Melgaard and these people. You know, I did this, but I it's not my job to answer what it means. But that only means that I didn't even answer. They didn't ask a question. They just made something. Okay? And they didn't really ask a question at all. Because if they did ask a question, they will also be forced to try to answer it. It's like people do that. If you meet a person with narcissistic personality, I know I talk a lot about that, but if you meet a person like that, when you argue with them, they will never engage with your argument. They will just keep asking you questions. Yeah, what about that? What about this? What about... And you keep on answering their questions, and they don't react to your questions. They just move on to the next question. And you see that in debates with Christopher Hitchens about religion. You see it, people who are basically not honest, they will just follow up with another question. And not even engage. And they will dismiss your answer with asking that next question. I think you have seen it a little bit with my brother when we get into discussions.
Yeah.
When he dismisses me. I had changed my mind so many times. Yeah. I took in new information and then I changed my mind. So it's a cop-out. It's a trick. It's the trick of the dishonest person, just to ask questions and not trying to answer them, because it's the same thing. An honest person will always try to answer the questions they are asking. If not, it would be the death of philosophy, wouldn't it? It would be like many philosophy students. They become very relativistic, and in the end they don't think there is such thing as truth at all. And they become totally impossible to discuss with, because they have lost a core. If you say, well, they ask you, how do you know you exist? Well, because I'm here, I say. Well, and then they say, well, how do you know that you're not just a program in a supercomputer? And then I say, well, the supercomputer has to exist, okay? Which means I will then be consciousness, or maybe simulated consciousness that really feels he exists, okay? And then they just keep banging on, instead of admitting that the chance that we actually objectively exist is so high that we shouldn't even bother to discuss it anymore. Because one more thing also, it's like what does anything exist? And the answer is because it does. Okay? Yeah. Next, was more?
Let's see. Aesthetics are secondary. The concept is what matters.
Nope. I think we have already answered that. I think they have to go hand in hand to create an object that drag people in and make them think. And if it's a very crude object who doesn't really drag people in, it doesn't make them ask questions at all, because you just can't drag them in. I think you actually, for humans to wanting to ask questions, there has to be a certain amount of aesthetics to it. That is, of course, just my opinion, but we come back to this, oh, it's an art. It's like art. And when they say that, they mean great art. the Sixtine Chapel, the David statue. That is what they mean. They don't mean Duchamp's urinal, okay? They don't. It's like Duchamp's urinal! That is not what it's saying. You can say, your thinking here is as good as David, the statue of David, because it's so coherent. It's so skillfully formulated that you can actually compare them. And that is why you can compare classical music or good music and painting and the use of language. It's the same thing. Exactly the same thing. The same process. It's the same aesthetic. Yeah. So. Yes? More?
Let's see.
More. Really got into this. I see it triggers better brushwork, actually. It's a dance. Da, 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 da. Ja, det bara så.
Here it's more on institutions and the field. One thing a lot of people say today is we aim to amplify marginalized voices.
Huh? What do you? Huh?
Amplify marginalized voices. You know, giving a voice to. You know, black people, and gay people, trans people.
Don't they have a voice?
Yeah.
I mean, black people have rap.
There are actually a lot of people today that seem to have no interest in art unless it kind of is a voice for some kind of marginalized group.
Oh yeah, but that is also the same. That's identity politics,
Yeah.
and that is a catastrophe, because it's a lie. Most people don't give a rat's ass about what gender you want to be or what you want to have sex with or what you identify with. People, I mean, it's so rare to find a person in the West who really care, really deeply care, like a real Nazi or a real homophobe. It's so rare to find that in the West that it's not even an issue. And one more thing, you don't even have to take these people seriously, and nobody takes these people seriously. The people, who are these people actually trying to convince? Are you trying to convince the Nazi that Jews are great after all? Is that what you are trying to do? Huh? What are you trying to do here? How many people have you met that hates gay people or trans people just because they are trans or gay? I've been a welder in a shipyard, and they were kind of, afraid of being seen or viewed as gay for some weird reasons, some of them. But when it come down to it, and they met some people who were gay, it was just fine. In prison, there was this young gay guy, and he was so nervous when he went to prison that he was going to get a lot of bullshit. And there was, that Polish guy, and another one who said, oh, he shouldn't have sex with his boyfriend in in that room where they... And I said, why not? Well, because he was gay and blah, blah. And I said, oh, shut the fuck up, you know. But there was only one person or two people who said anything. And they were marginalized because of that. And this guy, he became a mascot for everyone. Okay? And these people are both criminals and stuff, and not necessarily... there's a lot of intelligent people, but you know, even there he wasn't marginalized in any way. There were, of course, a few idiots, but and all the identity politics in art and all this screaming, they're preaching to the choir. They are not reaching those people anyway. Who the hell are they talking to? Because the people who are so shallow that they actually care about what skin color or stuff like that people have, they don't look at art. They do not go to art museums. They just don't. Maybe it's a little bit worse in the United States because you have more zealot religion and stuff like that. But these people do not go to art museums. And it kind of, when trans people and gay people or whatever do all that identity politics, they just make it worse. Because they do have their freedom now. If they want to make art about their gayness and all that, please do. But you won't change anybody's mind. Okay? You won't.
But that's what they try to now.
So instead of doing that, try to make something good instead. And maybe if you want to throw your gayness into this good object, please do.
That's why they make in Bergen they made this fat, and it's basically about changing how we talk about things and how we think about fat people and stuff. Yeah. So they want to control how we think.
Yeah, they want to control how we think. If you're fat, you're in danger. If you're fat, you're not in control. If you lose the control over your body, you have probably never had or already lost the control over your mind. Okay? Being obese is not a good thing because you use up more resources than necessary, and you get sick while doing it. So you are also gonna blow the health budget out of proportions. So you are basically, you're an ant who is destroying the ant hive. You are the bee who is destroying the hive. And now most bees are obese, so we have a serious problem. That is why I think that most of the crime in the United States is actually because of obesity, because of people have such a bad diet and stuff. And you see the same thing in Norway. A lot of, most of the diseases or mental diseases are related to how we treat our bodies. But then you have the other side again, people who do way too much. Like me, I destroyed both my hips because I was exercising to kind of take control over emotions. At the same time as I was overeating and drinking too much and basically burning the candle in both ends to kind of quell feelings. So yeah, it's crazy that if you had a study in university who actually tried to answer that question, why do people get fat? What is the consequence of losing control over these things. And it was based on actually getting to bottom of what we can do to stop it. But no.
You
They're
have
going to
to
force
accept
us.
it.
They're going to force us to
Make
view
it
these
normal.
people as a basically race or whatever.
Yeah, marginalized group.
Yeah. Well, they are now in the United States. They are actually in majority,
Yeah.
so they aren't a marginalized group anymore. We in America and also in Norway now, like even in Norway, if I get down to 32 thumbs around my 36 or 32, I will be in the 12% or 2% group at my age. Anyway, next. Yeah.
Art must remain relevant.
Huh? Art must remain relevant. How can we? I mean, that is.
There's so many things.
You can't look into the future and see if something is relevant.
Oh.
But what is sure is everything that is good, everything that is skill based, will always be relevant, because it reflects the highest level of being human. So if it's skill based and aesthetically based, and it has maybe some good ideas also thrown in there, or telling an important story, it will forever be relevant. If it's based on humanism and skill and doing something difficult, it will always be relevant. But if it's conceptual art linked to trends and fashion, it will lose its relevance over time, because what was relevant in the 80s is not necessarily as relevant today. Or, will religious art that doesn't have, when we are becoming more and more atheistic, and we do, the only religious art who will become irrelevant is the religious art that isn't objectively good art object. If the art object is good, it is good, period. And we don't even need to, we don't even care about what the subject matter is, as long as it sends out the message, this was difficult to make. I don't dismiss religious motives because I'm an atheist, do I?
You have one around your neck.
Yeah. And that is kind of just for fun though, but it is relevant because when Christians walk around with their crosses, and the Muslims with their crescents and stuff, I think it's quite fun to remind people that religious symbols are nonsense. But also I think the Thor's hammer also represent more masculine energy than the Christian cross. There is no masculine energy in the Christian cross. So, and that is, I think, Christianity made men less masculine over time. And when you meet these horrific religious relativists, the people who are so-called personal Christian, or what we call an absolute relativistic ass, which has created God in their own image, they are usually very feminine. If you notice Steinar Woll, who is a zealot, he is more masculine. Because he's a zealot. And being a religious fanatic is actually way more masculine. Even if it's about Jesus. But Steinar also loved the idea that people he doesn't like that isn't Christian winds up in hell. So he's kind of vengeful also. so yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Isn't that a sin in a way?
Yeah, it is a sin. It is a sin.
But he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care. No. And I told him that, well, you shouldn't judge, because judging others leads is a secure way to hell. Or being arrogant, or thinking that you are have the truth is also a high sin. You should never be certain you have the truth, and that is, of course, that is creating in this religion to keep people on their toes and never believe that they are good enough. And even my grandmother, who, when she was dying, basically 100 years old, she started to doubt, and she was afraid of winding up in hell because she thought she might not were good enough after all. So it keeps people on their toes. That is why this is made. So you can't never be good enough. And if you can't never be good enough, you will always stretch the hand toward, like the child who has a narcissistic parent. Because the Christian God is clearly a cosmic psychopath or narcissist. So if you can keep people the whole life stretch out to this narcissistic parent to get attention and to be good enough, you can guarantee that this person never grows up. A religious person, a deeply religious person, never grows up. And that is one of the biggest problems with the monotheistic religions. I don't think the Asatru is like that. Because growing up and taking consequence of your own actions is the goal. You have to be... You can't growl yourself, you can't pray yourself into Valhalla. You have to fight and be a man or woman or brave to get into Valhalla. To get into heaven, you have to be a sheep. To get into Valhalla, you have to be a bear or a wolf. Okay? God, I got goosebumps when I was saying it. So as I say, Odin exists. There's no doubt about it.
I get goosebumps when I talk about it. That means it's true.
That means but it's true. Everything I say, Odin or Thor, I just get goosebumps. It never happens when I say Jesus. Because Jesus is so lame. If you don't believe I'm God, you're gonna burn in hell forever. But I love you. I love you so much that I'm gonna send you to hell because you don't believe in me. Huh? And I'm all powerful, so I could annihilate hell whenever I want to. And sin and childhood, cancer and yeah. But it has to be there to make them believe that I'm not really there, so I can sow doubt, so I can maybe send them to hell if reality points to me not exist, but they have to believe I exist after all. If not, I'm sending them to hell. But I'm created a world that looks like I don't exist. And if you don't believe I exist because I created a world where it looks like I don't exist, I'm going to send you to hell. Now, if this was a person who was telling you to follow him on this basis, what would you do if you were a sane person? You would just ask him to fuck off, wouldn't you? Well, that was a digression, but yeah. Fuck off! Okay, is there more questions, or is this enough maybe?
Let's see if I find...
This was fun.
Yeah, there is one here. This is an important and necessary project. I guess we can ask, is art important? Or yeah.
Yeah, I think art is important to both tell subjective stories, to show that we are more than apes, to show, as I say, when you see the best in art, it should in itself make you into a humanist. When you see human potential, the best humans can do, and you know for a fact that every human being has potential to become really, really good and really, really human, I think it should create humanism. But we see again and again in history that, Germany, Russia, say Germany, who actually were a democracy, managed to fall into absolute mayhem. Despite all that art, despite all that philosophy. But then again, you have had an incremental, as art and science, I will say science is maybe more important. Science and critical thinking. But critical thinking is also art, and science is art. That is why there weren't any distinction between art and science. They used to call it a natural philosophy. So philosophy and art were the same thing. Art and so it was kind of intertwined. It was skill based. The problem with modern art is it isn't skill based, so it doesn't show the best of humanity. It doesn't show, the best things. Like every time there is a person killed in a trench in Ukraine or whatever, Russian or Ukrainian, or any child dies, it is a potential Leonardo da Vinci. If you could make people understand that every single child in the world, all the girls you see in porn, all the people you see dying of starvation, all these people you see, what could make the same things as, potentially make the same things as Leonardo da Vinci, or be the greatest of philosophers instead of child soldiers or people who abuse children or whatever. I don't think we would take so lightly on the loss. So yes, I think art in combination with science makes the world a better place in general. Or what was your question again?
Is art important?
Yeah, art is important. Sadly, too few people understand the importance of it. And even worse, people know nothing about science. They don't know anything about anything. And we have more information than, a click away. We have more information today than a Stone Age man would have in a lifetime. Yeah. So, and we don't even, and most people basically doesn't know, they don't know as much. Well, they couldn't survive in that environment because they don't even know how the Stone Age man survived, which would be quite easy to understand. But yeah, the problem is, again, modern art doesn't drag people in; it pushes people away. So people get less and less interested in art, because it is less and less skill-based, and when people are told they are idiots because they don't understand bullshit or accept bullshit as good, they just pull away and sees art as bullshit. Oh, I'm not interested in art. I actually experienced that a while ago, a person who said to me, "Oh, I'm not interested in art." And then I showed him my paintings, and he said, "Wow, that's good." And he said, "Well, now you are interested in art." "Oh yeah, but I'm interested in that kind of art," he said. Okay? So he was interested in art, but what he meant was he wasn't interested in bullshit. Okay? Yeah. So if everybody understood, or at least had a creative hobby or understood high aesthetics and stuff, I think people, in a very honest way, I think people would be way better than they are. And I also think the deeper a person becomes, the less he needs short buzz, the more you get in touch with introspection and depth, the less you need entertainment. So yeah, it is important in that sense. Sadly, modern art has basically destroyed much of that. What do you call it? When no, it doesn't. Modern art doesn't teach people humanism. It basically creates distance from creativity, because it isn't really creativity, it's just bullshit. So then we are back to that again. But I think science is, if I had to say goodbye to art, all the art in the world, every painting, every sculpture, everything who was created by artists, I would sell that out to keep science. Because science is what gives us medicine, not art, not pretty paintings. So science is more important than art. There's no doubt about it. But together, they are beautiful. And when you look at Feynman, he learned himself to draw. He was playing the bongo drums. He was trying all kinds of things because it kind of built his intuition. So very often scientists also have a creative hobby. And if you look at Leonardo da Vinci, he's a good example of a person who actually were doing science in everything he did, also his artwork. So yeah. So yes, art is important, but not modern art. We don't need more urinals. We don't need more painting exhibitions without paintings. We don't need any more artists who is making nothing and try to tell us or insist that it's something. Because nothing can actually be nothing. Or can it? Does nothing even exist? Nothing doesn't really exist.
Nothing matters.
So, yeah. Was there anything more? Or was this the last one?
There are
Jag är
more,
väl ganska
but
utslätt nu.
yeah, it's a lot of the same things.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think this became quite interesting actually. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, then.
okay.
Then we're gonna close down. Så du
Ska jag posera med...
poserar med...
Ska jag ha en rosa?
Nej, det har du.
Ska jag ha någon?
Have a rose. Rose. I hope it's good lighting in here. Hello. Oh, there you are. Oh, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. Ja, det var du stå. Oh, den sidan. Kan gå lite ut. Sån. Yeah, there she is. A lady. Look at that sweet ass, huh? Oh. Anyway, yeah. Then I can make the end of the video since I'm here. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed the conversation and give it a thumbs up, leave a comment and tell me what you think. And yeah, what do you think about art? And also tell me where you're from and stuff. It seems to be in these days. Okay, bye bye.